Inviting you to join the Gullion family and staff in praising the Lord for 30 years of providing you with trustworthy and inspiring books, Bibles, music, gifts, and supplies. We so appreciate your support and friendship over all these years. With locations in King and Statesville, North Carolina, visit us again soon for encouraging fellowship and essential provisions for your Christian life. Gullion's Christian Supply and Homeschool Headquarters, where the Bible stands.
It's 11:06 on WSIC News Radio, and you're listening to We're Just Saying with Senator Vicki Sawyer and David. I'd like to be part of our show, 844 Studio 4, and we are streaming live on the WSIC News website, social media, YouTube, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and on the Gram now.
The Gram.
We are live on the Gram.
So that's what Bill and I decided, because we were up all night last night thinking about how are we going to celebrate David Coble's 34th birthday. And so we decided to surprise you with now being live on Instagram, because we need to make sure folks understand the C is for radio. The C is for Coble and Coble's calves. And also we have these amazing balloons for you that thankfully Bill got at the last minute. He was really almost late to the show, so we're grateful. Happy birthday, David Coble.
Thank you very much. It's actually tomorrow, but I very much appreciate it. And if only, I would take either of those ages, frankly. I would take the 34 or the 43. Neither are accurate, but I would absolutely take either of them. So that should tell you something about where I am turning tomorrow. But thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. You came walking in with the balloons. I was like, oh, she remembered. And I was like, oh, no, she didn't.
No, I didn't. It was left over from an office party a couple of days ago.
You know what?
Terrible friend.
I appreciate the effort to recycle. I want to save Mother Earth.
Yeah.
I believe in that. I recycle.
Can I possibly ask for your forgiveness and drown my sorrows in bourbon with you? Would that be a good?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But you have to bring it.
Okay.
And it's got to be something good, something I pick.
Okay, well that's fair. Well, I mean, if you pick it, is it good?
Well, yeah. I don't do the cheap bourbon.
You do not.
I have been on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. I am a highly cultured bourbon connoisseur, so to speak.
Well, I will know that you guys who are bourbon guys, that is some deep stuff going on there. I mean the thousands of dollars for a bottle, and
I've never. Now there are people who do that, but also think about it this way. I know that you haven't enjoyed a glass of wine from time to time.
Sure,
you enjoy a good wine. Right. Bourbon is no different. It's, there's quality in what you bring out. And so it's not unlike wine.
I don't know. For me, bourbon tastes like it was distilled through a teenager's gym socks.
Wow. See, but not everybody's cultured enough to understand it. Nobody has the kind of palate we do.
Yeah, I know.
Your palate, it's okay that Busch Light and Apothic Red from the store is what you go with. The duck the wine.
I'm frugal. Yeah, it's delicious light of Miller. But speaking of someone who was not frugal yesterday, we did have a visit from the Commander-in-Chief to Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yes, we did. Came in to tout high speed internet, putting money into high speed internet
in rural areas.
Because we just now started doing that.
Yeah,
that's something new here in North Carolina. We haven't been doing that before.
So the coolest thing is I didn't see anything, and I was not in Raleigh, but I was scrolling through Twitter. Excuse me, X.
Oh, see?
X.
See, after you got so snobby about me saying X formerly known as Twitter.
I know. And I saw where he confused a woman with Congresswoman Deborah Ross. He said in his speech that he had just taken a picture with Deborah Ross. It was good to see her there. And yet she wasn't there.
She was not. And if you follow the exploits of our geriatric in chief, that is not the first time that he has done that. But this time was a little bit better than the last time it happened. In which case he asked a congresswoman to stand up who had died. I think 3 or 4 months before.
That's right.
He was somewhere and he said, she was a great congresswoman. Is she here? Please stand up. And the answer was no, because she had passed away several months earlier. But bless his heart.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
Well, I mean, there is the other side of the ticket or the aisle where there is an Iowa caucus that happened this week. And those of us who are going to not vote for President Biden has a choice. And it looks like at least the Iowa caucus members made a distinct and clear choice.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I don't think there was ever really any doubt that Trump was going to win. The question was, what was going to be the margin, and it's the largest margin in the history of the Iowa caucus. So obviously, I know that Ron DeSantis, he came in a very close, or not a very close second. He came in a very distant second, about 2 or 3 points better than Nikki Haley.
Your girl.
But
she was doing good.
She was.
But was she doing good, or did the press make her seem like she was doing better than she actually was?
Honestly, I mean, I think, of the range of candidates that were left, right? It's been sort of a best kept secret that DeSantis was not going to make it much past Iowa. He's not been really able to break through or anything like that. The people that he thought might leave Trump for him didn't.
Yeah.
Obviously, 100%. So, Haley was really always the only sort of viable alternative, and so she got a lot of press in relation to that. And they got to write out something. It gets a little boring writing about Trump's 40-point lead in the polls. They got to write about something, right? But she came and said, but she's been focusing very heavily on New Hampshire, so that's on Tuesday.
Oh, that's right, because that's going to fix Iowa.
Yes,
New Hampshire's
New Hampshire will
whatever.
fix whatever happened in Iowa. I don't get that, to be fair with you. Again, I'm not on the stage or the spotlight those are under. So but at the same time, it's like, but will it? I mean, even if you win New Hampshire, it won't be. I mean, if she wins New Hampshire, that will get some traction. But polls in her home state of South Carolina are not good for her. They just aren't. And it has Vivek getting out. He's not going to. I mean, nobody who supported Vivek is going to support Nikki Haley.
Sure. They're going to fold into Trump.
Yeah, I mean, if Chris Christie would get out, that would obviously likely go to Haley, but there's not much
he
there.
did get out, and there wasn't.
Well, he is. Yeah, I guess technically is out now, but there's not enough there to really move. I mean, barring something catastrophic, I mean, Donald Trump's going to be Trump, and
so I think
what it's going to be.
I think the funniest for me was watching CNN after Trump swept Iowa. It was so funny. I mean, you just see the true colors of the anchors of the newscast when they're trying to say, like, Trump won. What is wrong with you people? I mean, I think that's really the tone.
What was that one of them? What was that one that said that the angry white conservative Christians really came out in Iowa and really showed their anger because now Donald Trump won, and they're just the backwoods hicks just did it again. Obviously we can't all be cultured like the CNN crowds, obviously, but it's here's what amazes me. The takes that the media has had during the Donald Trump era, they were bad.
Right.
When he got out of office, they remained bad, and they continue to stay bad.
Right.
When it comes to things like this, it's like they never learn, and it's quite comical.
It is, and so we're gonna go and move to in the next two segments, about some anger towards the Department of Motor Vehicles. Maybe not anger, but concern, because as one of the transportation chairs, I've invited my co-chair, Michael Lazzara, who just penned an op-ed that was published in regards to the frustration that we've had. And as well, at the bottom of the hour at 11:30, we're going to have Chairman Brenden Jones on to talk about his frustration. And he's got a little different perspective. He actually has really good relationships with car dealers. So, we as customers see and feel the frustration in the line at DMV from this side, but we also know that the car dealers have to deal with license plate agencies and a lot of those same things on the commercial side of it. So we're going to be talking about both of those.
Excellent. Well, and then a little tidbit about New Hampshire, if you may not have known, there is a little town called Dixville Notch. That is the first one. That is a village of Dixville Notch. 4 people. They cast their ballots at midnight on Tuesday.
Okay.
See, see, Americana. That's Americana. You should appreciate that.
I should.
You're listening to We're Just Saying on WSIC News. We'll be right back.
There's more We're Just Saying with North Carolina Senator Vicki Sawyer on the way from 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Starting out with clouds, but clouds clearing as we head through the day on our Friday. More sunshine coming back, but you'll notice the wind picking up, gusting around 30 miles per hour this afternoon as that cold air is ready to rush in ahead of the weekend. Another Arctic blast on the way. Temperatures fall down into the mid-teens tonight, barely getting to freezing tomorrow for our Saturday.
We're back down in the teens Saturday night, ending the weekend in the upper 30s for Sunday. That's your forecast for the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Having performed all over the world, written hit songs, and mentored artists, Rocky Lynn is making another stop here at home, playing at Kane Center for the Arts this Saturday. Listen each weekday morning for your chance to win tickets and meet and greet passes. And come hang out with us prior to the show. WSIC will be in front of Kane Center for the Arts from 6 to 7 p.m. Rocky Lynn this Saturday, kanearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Mooresville Parks and Recreation presents the Hitmen of Country, playing at the Charles Mack Citizen Center Friday, January 19th. Love country music? The Hitmen of Country have toured and recorded with some of the country's greatest artists, like Keith Urban, Trace Adkins, Travis Tritt, and Jason Aldean. For more information, go to visitmooresville.com. That's visitmooresville.com. Birkdale on Ice is still going on through January 28th. Time to lace up your skates and hit the ice. To make sure you can skate when you want, we recommend you making a reservation. For skate session info, including times and pricing, visit birkdalevillage.com. Want to attend the Greater Charlotte Home and Landscape Show? How about the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show? Throughout the day, you have your chance to win tickets. Listen each day to Good Morning LKN, the Home Ad Show, the News Drive at 5, and the Scoreboard. Each show gives you your chance to win. The Greater Charlotte Home and Garden Show, February 23rd through the 25th. The Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, January 26th through the 28th. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Call now to speak with NC Senator Vicky Sawyer at 844-STUDIO-4. It's We're Just Saying on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to We're Just Saying on WSIC News Radio with Senator Vicky Sawyer and David. Like to be part of our show, 844-STUDIO-4. We are still streaming live on the WSIC News website, YouTube, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, and the Gram.
The Gram.
The Gram. So we do have our first guest joining us right now on the phone, the good Senator Mike Lazzara.
Oh, no, I knew he was waiting to do that. Before we put Michael through on the phone, I do want to brag on him a little bit, if you allow me to.
Please do.
So Senator Lazzara serves as the co-chair of the Senate Finance Committee, Senate Transportation Committee, and he also lives in Onslow County. So for us Midlanders, that's the coast in Jacksonville. He was the mayor pro tem of the city of Jacksonville and served on that council for 14 years before becoming a senator. He also served our country as a Marine and owns and operates several businesses, but most famously, you can see his finest work in convenience stores all over North Carolina and the Hunt Brothers.
Exactly. And he makes a heck of a pizza.
I'm kidding. No, he actually owns Lazzara's Pizza and Subs and Michelangelo's Pizza in the Emerald Isle, Atlantic Beach, and Jacksonville area. Senator Lazzara, welcome to the show.
Well, good morning, and what an introduction, Vicki. I will remember the Hunt Brothers comment.
Yes. As the insider joke.
An insider joke.
Yeah, it is.
Good morning, David.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
So, Senator Lazzara,
thank you for having me this morning.
Yeah, so Senator Lazzara, you had just penned a really detailed op-ed, and it was something that we are doing, and I don't know that a lot of people know about it. So it's in regards to the DMV and result of some of the frustration and a deadline that's coming up about a study. Would you like to tell our listening audience what we've all been up to, I guess?
Sure, and thank you for that. Well, part of our budget cycle, we initiated a study that would look at DMV and potentially privatizing those services, which would certainly be a benefit to the public in a lot of ways. It could lead to greater efficiency, convenience, faster service, competition. There's so many benefits to it. We've just had so many complaints about our DMV wait times and for businesses and citizens that we just need to do something about it, and hopefully this study will give us some facts about what we can and can't do.
Yeah, and I thank you for leading the charge on this and letting the folks know because tell us, we have a fast growing area here in the Charlotte metro region, but you guys are also growing fast, but you grow in a different way. You have a large military footprint in your area, and the DMV is probably one of the first stops those young men and women have to make when they're coming into your area.
Absolutely. So Onslow County is the home of Camp Lejeune, which is the largest amphibious training center in the country. But um, as I understand it, we have some of the highest volume transactions in the state. I think last year there were over 250,000, nearing 300,000 transactions at DMV, not including dealer
Wow.
transactions. So we are a high volume area, and imagine our military bases having a lot of young men and women that are buying vehicles and trading vehicles, and then they're transient, right? They're here for a short period of time and they leave, and we have new ones coming in, and just the bottleneck and just having to do basic titling and transactions is just horrendous.
Yeah. And you recently had something that's very concerning happen in Onslow County for that service that was provided. A 30-year license plate agency was shut down, and you're not really sure why. And for those of you who, I've always wondered, why do I get my driver's license at a DMV and I get my driver's or my license plate at a license plate agency? It's because they're two different entities, although they report to the same. The DMV is run by the government. The license plate agency is on contract with the government. But tell our listening audience what happened in your district and how hard that's been on your constituents.
So in our area, we've had a 30-year or close to a 30-year LPA, license plate agency provider, that's been running the same agency all these years. And then out of the clear blue sky, the DMV agency came down and shut them down, took all the computers out without any notice whatsoever. So you had over 20 employees lose their jobs immediately. The license plate agency was shut down. And so as you can imagine, all these folks, and particularly right at the holidays, which is normally a high volume transaction time for whatever reason, we had nowhere to send these folks locally. They had to get in their car and drive an hour to another agency. And so my phone and email has been inundated with that. And having asked the questions, I never really got firm answer as to why they were shut down, were there previous notices sent, letter of reprimands, and nothing. Just apparently some proposed notary violations that they claim took place, but the operator is saying that they've been doing business the same way for 30 years and it's never been an issue. So again, I can't really tell you exactly what took place, but nevertheless, let's just say that was accurate. Should there not be a better process of transition so that we don't impact the people that we serve?
Right. Absolutely. I agree with you totally. And also talk about other complaints that you hear about even getting a driver's license. Can you get an appointment? If you do, is your area similar to ours? Mm-hmm.
It is, and appointments are almost impossible, and it's just the time. I mean, even in the prior, when the LPA was operating here, you need at least 2.5 hours of your time to be able to get there and sit, take a ticket, and wait to do basic transactions. And, in the world of which we live in, we've got to do much better. So there's a lot of challenges, I think, that are facing the DMV operation, and that's what prompted my effort to look at what privatization, because I've seen some of these things happen before where government privatizes something and it becomes not only less of a burden to the taxpayer because we know exactly what we're paying for a service, and then the actual service, or whoever the provider is, doing business, and they've got to perform as an individual business. They've got to give good customer service. They've got to give less wait times in order for them to be profitable. So it can be a win-win situation if we can make it work.
Well, and like I do, that when you log on to the DMV now, that is a private company who organizes that interface. When you can try to order a new license online, and there is a private company who performs that service. So when you say privatization, it's not like it isn't already happening, correct?
That's right. Some of it is actually happening. I believe it's the My DMV. Is that what you're referring to?
Mm-hmm.
That's a separate entity. So I think if we can take some of those models and really make them inclusive and all together and parse it out, it may be a great opportunity for us to offer less burden to the taxpayer and a greater customer service to the people that we serve.
I agree. And as we move forward, and you see in this short session, I know that we're going to be looking and getting the study back. We possibly are going to have some government oversight committee meetings, and then we'll have what they call the short session beginning on April 24th and see legislation go through. I'm going to put you on the spot. I mean, but do you feel like you have the appetite to tackle this in the short session? And if so, what would you like to see happen that way?
Well, I personally do. I am committed to making a change for the good of the people that we serve, and not only the citizens but the businesses. And that's the part we really didn't talk about. All the dealers across the state that are trying to conduct businesses that can't get their tags in a timely manner, and now we're having to extend that time frame so that they can get folks their tags, and people aren't trying to drive on expired tags. And so, yes, I am, to answer your question, I'm ready to tackle it. As you indicated, I wrote an op-ed about it, just making people aware of what my personal intentions are. And I think most of us that sit on the committee are very frustrated, and we're ready to have some oversight meetings and really address the issue. And it's not like what DMV did to the LPA. This is something that we've been talking about for a long time and have given DMV not only financial support to the tune of $90 million to modernize, but also legislative support. And we haven't seen the change. All we get is excuses.
That is so true. 10 years, $90 million, and legislative authority to enter in up to 5 contracts without the intervention from another agency. And this is what we get. Right. This is what we get.
What more support can we give, right?
Right.
We're here and ready.
Right. And so I appreciate and support your approach, because it feels like that we as legislators are continually taking all the burden of trying to get our constituents a DMV appointment or help a dealer get through something. And in the meantime, the agency has been given all of the tools and equipments that we can give them. And yet there's a culture of not modernization and not modernizing, because Senator Lazzara, like me, they still use COBOL as their foundational structure for their internet. I mean, for their IT. And I think, David, was that when you were in college they taught that?
That's probably when I was in high school.
In high school when they taught that.
I was going to say, it's probably a little further than that.
Yeah.
I think I was programming Cobalt cards long ago.
Okay. Well, we have our last 30 seconds. And so if someone wants to learn more about you, Senator Lazzara, please let them know your Twitter handle or your X handle and also your website.
Sure. It's LazzaraForNCSenate.com if they want to learn more about me. And, of course, my Twitter is at Senator Lazzara. And anyways, you can find me on the legislative website, and be glad to answer any questions or any concerns. But we look forward to leading the way in reimagining how the state services can be delivered in the 21st century. So I'm very excited about that.
Well done. Well done. Thank you for joining the show.
Thank you, Senator.
And after the break, we will have Chairman Jones on the line.
Yep. You're listening to We're Just Saying on WSIC News. We'll be right back.
Another Arctic blast on the way. Temperatures fall down into the mid-teens tonight. Barely getting to freezing tomorrow for our Saturday. We're back down in the teens Saturday night, ending the weekend in the upper 30s for Sunday. That's your forecast for the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's a WSIC Business Minute with local entrepreneur Joe Vagnone.
Based on the Web Guys, a top international website design firm, there are 5 pages that are absolute must for your website. Homepage, About Us page, blog, service and product page, and contact page. Your website homepage is the modern-day storefront, where customers form their first impression. By the time you hear from them, they've already made up their minds about you. Your homepage is also the sign on the building. That's right. By now, we all know our customers and clients have been at your website 2 or 3 times before they ever call or stop by. Let me say that again. By the time you see or hear from your new customer, they have already formed an opinion of you and your company. How's that for a first impression without having the ability to look them in the eye or give them a handshake?
This has been a WSIC Business Minute with Joe Vagnone. Listen for tips on how to improve your business daily on WSIC. News, talk, now.
Discover, this is Daniela.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great, but with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Do you like asparagus and mushroom sorbet? I've got leftovers.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Psst. Hey, Mark, remember, getting help from Progressive is so easy. You can use the mobile app, chat with us online, or call us.
And you pick now to tell me.
I couldn't miss little Grace's ballet recital. Oh, thanks for inviting me, by the way.
Did I?
Because you know I'm always here for you.
Yeah. I can use the mobile app if I need help. Sorry, you're in my wife's seat, though?
Oh, yeah, I gotta go anyway. Tell Grace she nailed her chassé.
Get the help you need from Progressive with our mobile app, online chat, or over the phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no 2 people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now save 40% on the Sleep Number Special Edition smart bed for a limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure for max strength daytime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. DayQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks DayQuil High Blood Pressure. The daytime, non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
Now more We're Just Saying with North Carolina Senator Vicky Sawyer on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Probably my favorite right here.
Yeah, it is.
Good.
Yeah,
welcome
good.
back to We Were Just Saying on WSIC News Radio with Senator Vicky Sawyer and David. Like to be part of our show, 844 Studio 4. We are still streaming live on the WSIC News website, YouTube, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, and the Gram as of today. So we're switching sides now. We just heard from the Senate side. Of course, we always hear from the Senate side since this is your show.
Yes.
But now we're switching over a little bit to the House side,
Yeah,
right?
I'm excited to have our next guest on the show. And before we put him on, I do want to give him a proper introduction. Chairman Brenden Jones. He does serve in the House, and he is down east. He's a deputy majority leader. His primary duty is to work with other House leadership and oversight in areas such as the floor and votes and caucus, or assisting policy development within the party. And he's the appropriations for transportation. He also serves as on the appropriation committee for the House, and really just has a many hats. So he does a lot over there in the House. So we're very grateful to have Chairman Brenden Jones on the call. Welcome to We're Just Saying.
Representative Jones, how are you?
I am well. How are you guys?
Oh, just living the dream one day at a time. We're doing our best over here.
Me too. It's just a nightmare some days, and I wake up screaming.
I totally understand. Well, Representative Jones, we just got finished with Senator Lazzara, and we were talking some DMV items. And I know, because you chair the House Transportation Committee, obviously DMV comes in first and forefront for you. But also, you do a lot of work with auto dealers and things like that. So if you don't mind, tell our listening audience a little bit about, your background, but also how that helps play into your experience with the DMV and some of the challenges you're seeing and some of the things you'd like to do to get some things fixed.
Sure. Like Senator Sawyer, I bring in a little bit of different perspective, not being an attorney, and that's kind of what's happened over the years. Attorneys have written all the laws. So our family's 53 years in the automobile business, so I've been around it my whole life. And one of the things I was noticing and talking to the speaker about was just kind of how bad some of the language was written for dealers. And we've been trying to do a lot of cleanup, and Senator Sawyer and her colleagues have been wonderful to work with to try to help that. But we've had some small impasses working with the commissioner over at the DMV, and we've been meeting and discussing and trying to figure out how to overcome some of those hurdles. But we've got some good legislation. We've actually passed some good bills, but they've yet to be implemented by the agency.
And it's interesting that you bring that up, because one of the things that we have talked about before, on the show about the legislative process is, you all as legislators, you go through, you enact the bills, they're good policy, and then it gets to the agency, right? And you presume that they will implement what the, legislative branch of our government has told them to, but seemingly they like to periodically slow walk and then sometimes not do it and then ask for forgiveness after the fact because they haven't done it. So what are some of the things that you all have passed recently that just have not gotten implemented yet?
Well, a little bit on that. What's frustrating for us is that we spend the senator and I and her colleagues and my colleagues, we'll go up there and we'll spend 6, 7, 8, 9 months perfecting language, meeting with the outside interests, meeting with folks that's on the ground level, your license plate agencies, your driver license offices, DMV inspectors, dealers, insurance companies. And we sit down and we really, in good faith, try to enact some legislation that really will affect and help the constituents of this state. And as those have become law, you take someone where, the governor has appointed someone who has no clue as to what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. And honestly, I just don't think they know how to implement. There's good people over at the office, but it's slow walk because the commissioners made a decision to slow walk these things. Small things like how dealers renew their licenses every year. It's the same process my dad was using in 1980.
Okay.
Wow.
We actually have put in a law signed by the governor that they're to digitize this. That's not been done. Dealers have a license on their wall that we must adhere to by the dates, and we ask for a 30-day extension to be put physically on those licenses. So as they are failing to get the renewals done in time, the dealer will be able to continue doing business with auctions and insurance companies and whoever. And, things like that have still not been done. And we're going into year number 2 now that these things have been law and they've not been enacted. And it's very frustrating. Myself and Senator Sawyer, we feel many phone calls a week of the frustration. We're doing our job. We're getting the laws passed, but we don't have an agency to implement them.
And it's interesting that you talk about that because actually I'm going through something similar right now. Anecdotally, my father had his identity stolen recently, and not only did they get his Social Security number, they got his driver's license, they got his driver's license number, and basically created a false driver's license and superimposed their picture, and were trying to withdraw money from his accounts in Tennessee and in another state, trying to utilize his fake license. Now, thankfully, it was caught and they didn't lose anything, but when your identity's stolen, stuff like that, and somebody gets your credit card number, you get a replacement credit card. Well, what he's finding out is he can't get a new driver's license number. He called locally. It was tough finding somebody. When he finally did, they said, well, you need to call Raleigh. And then he went and he called Raleigh, and they were like, yeah, no, we don't give new numbers. Sorry. The only way that we can change your driver's license number is if you have if something about you has changed demographically. So I told him that a solution might be just to identify as a woman.
Yes.
and just get his driver's license.
Yeah.
Say, keep the same picture and everything. But that seems a little out of whack to me. And I think a lot of times when people talk about going to the DMV, it's a, oh my gosh, no, we don't want to do that. Or, oh my gosh, it's going to be a 5-hour process. And so, I know that you all have tried to fix that, but, anecdotally, that's just one of the challenges I just saw this week.
Well, it's having a little bit of common sense to figure out that we're in a different age. I don't want to use the word space age because we're past space age. But we're facing challenges now that when these laws were written, we had no idea that these things would be happening. Now, I made a suggestion to the commissioner, maybe we start hiring managers from Chick-fil-A to come over to the DMV and help speed things along.
Yeah.
They kind of have it figured out, but I just don't know why. I mean, my own child looked at me one day when we were trying to get her driver license appointment, and we couldn't get her an appointment. Chairman of Transportation couldn't get her an appointment. She looks at me, she's like, Dad, why can't you do this? So, I mean, we feel the same pressures and pains, and she still hadn't got her night license for having to try to figure out an appointment. I mean, there is a better path forward, but again, the senator and her colleagues and me and my colleagues, we have been more than willing to sit down and help and have these conversations, but we're brick walled every time we try to do something.
I agree, Chairman. And so now that we're facing this brick wall, I mean, I know that you have been very active in this space. What do you see happening next, and what would you like to happen in the short session?
Well, the short session would be short to start off with. We would go in April and be home by June. And theoretically, we could. We have some cleanup to do on some DMV language, and I think we're very, very close to getting that handled. And I think we're going to probably have to call some feet to the line over the agency. We need some answers that we're not getting. And I mean, honestly, when a chairman of the Senate or the chairman of the House asks for answers, deservingly, we should get those. And we're failing to get those answers. What we are getting is sometimes half-truths.
Right.
And that's very frustrating. It's hard to overcome situations when you don't have all the facts.
I want you to.
On the other hand,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Well, I want you to touch down on that because you're not just saying that, you actually witnessed that. You were watching, and I want you to tell that in the last 3 minutes we have, I want you to tell the listening audience what you saw when you were listening in on a DOT transportation meeting and the steps that you took, because you mean business.
Well, So what I do as these agencies come into office, I ask for everything in writing. That way there's no confusion, no gray areas, no problems. And we actually had the commissioner go before the DOT board and blatantly tell untruths about meeting with me and requests that he had made. And I'm getting at live video feed from that. And so I immediately got copies of everything that he put in writing and sent to the board members. And they literally had to call him out in that meeting for his untruths. So it's hard to help move things forward when you got somebody who's not even willing to admit what their asks were and then throw us, Senator Sawyer and myself, under the bus and say they're not true. And that's why it's important to have things in writing. But most importantly, you need somebody with ethics that's not worried about being an undercover boss going around looking at the agencies, but a guy that wants to get his hands and feet dirty if he needs to have his behind in there helping them adjust and learn the system. That's what we need. We need a hands-on commissioner who really wants to make a difference, not just have a title.
Agreed. I completely agree. Now, Chairman Jones, anything that you want to tell the listening, I know, but anything you want to tell the listening audience in the last minute that we have here, and specifically make sure to tell them your Twitter handle and your website so they can learn more about you.
So I'm like the most tech savvy guy in the building, but my staff tells me I'm at Brenden Jones NC. We have a website, repjones.com. We try to keep it pretty simple because that's who I am. But I want the audience to understand one thing. Like with myself, I'm just an average citizen, just like Senator Sawyer, Senator McKinnis, Senator Lazzara that you just heard. And we're just out there trying to make a difference and make it better. And we all bring a perspective from our industries that help do that. And if we can get an agency on board, guys, girls, we'll have a better DMV And we're looking forward to hopefully bringing you some answers very, very soon from this agency.
Great.
Well said.
Chairman Jones, thank you so much for being part of our show. We really do appreciate it, and thank you for all you're doing for the state and your constituents down in Raleigh.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It is my honor to serve, and I appreciate being on the show and look forward to being back again.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Take care, sir. You're listening to We're Just Saying on WSIC News Radio. We'll be right back.
There's more We're Just Saying with North Carolina Senator Vicky Sawyer on the way from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, starting out with clouds, but clouds clearing as we head through the day on our Friday. More sunshine coming back, but you'll notice the wind picking up, gusting around 30 miles per hour this afternoon as that cold air is ready to rush in ahead of the weekend. Another Arctic blast on the way. Temperatures fall down into the mid-teens tonight. Barely getting to freezing tomorrow for our Saturday. We're back down in the teens Saturday night, ending the weekend in the upper 30s for Sunday. That's your forecast for the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Having performed all over the world, written hit songs, and mentored artists, Rocky Lynn is making another stop here at home, playing at Kane Center for the Arts this Saturday. Listen each weekday morning for your chance to win tickets and meet and greet passes. And come hang out with us prior to the show. WSIC will be in front of Kane Center for the Arts from 6 to 7 p.m. Rocky Lynn this Saturday, kanearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Mooresville Parks and Recreation presents the Hitmen of Country, playing at the Charles Mack Citizen Center Friday, January 19th. Love country music? The Hitmen of Country have toured and recorded with some of the country's greatest artists, like Keith Urban, Trace Adkins, Travis Tritt, and Jason Aldean. For more information, go to visitmooresville.com. That's visitmooresville.com. Birkdale on Ice is still going on through January 28th. Time to lace up your skates and hit the ice. To make sure you can skate when you want, we recommend you making a reservation. For skate session info, including times and pricing, visit birkdalevillage.com. Want to attend the Greater Charlotte Home and Landscape Show? How about the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show? Throughout the day, you have your chance to win tickets. Listen each day to Good Morning LKN, the Home Ad Show, the News Drive at 5, and the Scoreboard. Each show gives you your chance to win. The Greater Charlotte Home and Garden Show, February 23rd through the 25th. The Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, January 26th through the 28th. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Call now to speak with NC Senator Vicky Sawyer at 844-STUDIO-4. It's We're Just Saying on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to We're Just Saying on WSIC News Radio with Senator Vicky Sawyer and David. Like to be part of our show, 844-STUDIO-4. We are streaming live on the WSIC News website, YouTube, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and the Gram for the first time, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So great information both from Senator Lazzara and Chairman
nice.
Jones on DMV transportation. And I'd wager no one in our audience was sitting there thinking, I think the DMV is working perfectly and they should leave them alone.
Right.
So obviously great information, but this was a week of firsts for you.
It was a week of firsts for me.
You did something that, you've always talked about, you don't do, you're not getting involved in other people's races, and then you went and did it.
I did it. I told a presidential candidate that I would not endorse him. That was DeSantis.
Yeah.
Because I don't endorse and never will endorse in primaries. And guess what I did?
You endorsed in a primary.
I did.
But I think we all know why.
But it's Gray Mills.
It is.
He is absolutely fantastic. And I have enjoyed our working relationship. And I think he's going to be the best choice for Congress for the 10th District. I support him. He's one of my neighbors. He's a friend. He's got a wonderful family. And I just broke my rule, but I'm only breaking it for Gray Mills.
This is not a precedent setter.
This is not a precedent setter, county commissioner candidates.
Wow. Well
or
done.
House other candidates.
Or other
No.
House candidates
No.
or any other elected office. This
No.
is a one-off
It's
deal.
only for Gray Mills.
Well, and I think that's fair.
Okay.
I think that's fair
Okay.
because, I mean, as you have stated multiple times, this is an opportunity for one of our own, somebody who we know really well from Iredell County, to go into Congress.
Born and raised?
Yep, exactly. And, Sheriff Campbell has endorsed.
Right.
And which is fantastic.
I saw the good Congresswoman.
Congresswoman Virginia Fox endorsed as well, which is huge.
She is a machine on a
yes, she
campaign
is.
trail. I don't know if you've ever had
I
to
have.
campaign beside or with Virginia Fox.
I have been there. I have seen it in action, and she's a machine. A machine is
Yes.
exactly what she is.
Yes, when we were campaigning in Yadkin for my first primary, Congresswoman Fox was on the ballot as well, as she is every 2 years. And it became a joke for me. Like, if I wanted to go to a sewing circle on Tuesday at 9 a.m. in the middle of Yadkin County where no one knew where it was, she would beat me there.
Yeah, I can
I
believe
mean,
it.
she was there. I thought, no way. But that woman is a machine. So I'm so thankful that she is endorsing and supporting Gray Mills along with myself, Sheriff Darren Campbell, and a few others, I believe, are coming down the pike.
Yeah, absolutely. More to come. Obviously, of that I'm sure, just because people, really appreciate Gray. It is interesting that, it was a no good, very bad week for one of Gray's opponents, Pat Harrigan. In addition to all the fabulous endorsements that Gray got, the Fox News actually wrote an article about some comments had made. The Fox News wrote about not the local affiliate. This was the national.
Oh, it was National Fox News.
National Fox News wrote a little article about something he had said in one of the previous districts.
What did he say?
He shopped in order to run. So the headline was GOP candidate compared deporting illegal immigrants to Nazis, not opposed to fast tracking DACA citizenship. So these were comments that he made back in, I guess, the first time he ran in district, I guess in 2018. Or something like that.
He ran in 2018.
District. It was either 18 or 20, I think, something like that. But it was one of the first races he initially had jumped into when he was when in the first district he got into.
Because he's been shopping. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry for catching me up. I apologize. I've got blind love for Gray Mills, so
this is his
I don't
third
pay
district.
attention.
This is his third district in 3 years, I think, that he's trying to run in.
That makes it even worse.
Yes, absolutely. But
so in his first district, he was talking about comparing illegal immigration to Nazis.
So what he was it was an interview that he was on the radio, and he was talking about Trump's immigration policies, and he had talked about favoring a pathway to citizenship for illegal immigrants, and and he was commenting specifically on Trump's policies, and his comment had specifically was there has to be a pathway to citizenship. Look, from my perspective, you look at countries that have rounded up and exported people from their country. It's a list of countries that we don't want to be involved with. It's Russia, it's North Korea, it's China, it's Nazi Germany. And he said when asked about the pathway to citizenship for individuals and for U.S. illegally, so he said he would be open to the pathway for citizenships. And if you recall at the time, President Trump's policy was we need to deport the people who have come here illegally, make them get in line and to come here legally.
Agreed.
And so Fox had reached out and asked him about that. Hey, is this still your stance? Is this still the way you think?
Well, let me guess. So he's in a Republican primary, and an open border is not very popular. So I'm sure he may have flipped his opinion.
The first thing he did was say that this was all it was horrible that a decorated combat veteran such as himself was being attacked in this way. I don't know how it's an attack if it's your words. Just to be fair.
Well, and I do appreciate anyone who put their life on the line to service of their country. So that's fine. But you also, that one doesn't preclude another. Like, thank you for your service, but you're in a political fight. And so when you are, in these campaigns, you have to atone for your words.
Well, yeah. And they are your words.
They're your words.
Yeah, they are your words.
So appreciate the service, but that was we're talking about now and what you said now
exactly
about one of the biggest crises that are facing our country.
Exactly. And and not being familiar with our district, obviously he probably isn't aware of the damage that illegal immigration has done to our area specifically. And so you can give someone, I guess, a little bit of a pass from that. I mean, he hasn't lived here, so he doesn't know.
Right.
It's one of those things where it's just like, look, these are your words. You're in a campaign. If a news organization calls you and says, hey, do you still stand by these words?
Yeah.
That's not an attack.
Well, and I'm going to go back to something you just said. When you said you can give him a pass because he doesn't know the district, actually, I don't. Because if he's going to represent me in Raleigh, he should know me in my district, in our constituency. And having to flip-flop a statement based on whichever district you want to represent is the very thing that I disdain about politicians altogether.
Yes.
And so he should know. I shouldn't have to tell him how I feel so that he can craft his words to modify it so he can get my vote. The man should have the thing said right from the first time, and that should align with the people he wants to represent.
Exactly. Or if that is what he truly felt at the time when he was in the other district that was a little less conservative than this one, then stand by it and say, well, no, I still stand by that, and articulate why. Maybe you bring somebody over to your way of thinking. Who knows? But don't call it an attack. I mean, when someone asks you, when you said this, do you still stand by it? Well, I'm being attacked. Really?
It's a campaign, buddy.
It's a campaign, buddy.
Welcome.
Step up.
Yeah.
But speaking of attacks, Rated X.
Oh,
you
Lord.
got a good
Lord.
one. You got to get. Now, are we week 3? Did we make it?
Okay. Week 3, no workplace accidents.
Congratulations.
This one almost got me because it came to my legislative email address. And as you will see, we're going to try to get through this one without any FCC violations.
Yes, as Bill sits back there, please,
but please, so nervously.
No.
Okay.
But we are finally trained radio professionals. We can do this.
We're going to try to do this.
Okay.
Received on Tuesday, January 16th at 10:09 p.m. I was very well in bed by that time. Dear Senator Sawyer, you for restricting trans lights. You for being proud of yourself. You for thinking that you're doing good for being a hateful piece of. You for hurting innocent trans girls and women. You, and I hope you lose every next election. Sincerely.
It was Emma. We can say Emma on the radio. We can say Emma on the radio, can't we?
I don't know.
I want credit for like my timing was pristine on
Your
that.
Your timing was pristine. Bill, did we pass?
We passed.
We passed.
Okay, we're still on the air.
Okay, so I read that and it was in the next morning and I was like, huh. And I started emailing back. I hope this, and I went, nope. I cannot do it. David called that a clapback. I cannot do it. I was going to thank that person and hope that they feel better after me all the good time as they would. What is it?
Well, it was 10 o'clock at night. I mean, there's a fair bit. Now, here's what you want to know what impresses me, though?
What?
So many times the trolls that come at you, their spelling, their conjugation, and everything like that is not good.
It's suspect.
And this one was actually grammatically correct. And a lot of times when people talk about you losing elections, they always go LOOSE, lose your elections.
Yeah.
This one said lose. So if nothing else, Emma put a lot of effort into making sure that this was grammatically correct for you. So that's something.
That's great. Yeah, very good job.
Hey, well done. That should make you feel good. Yay, well done.
Before I became a senator, I never connected or contacted state legislators for hardly anything unless I needed like a passport, or not state legislators, but or my Congress people in case I needed some kind of service that I wasn't getting from the normal channels. I don't think I ever just stayed up at 10 o'clock at night and started yelling obscenities to a random person.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like if you like I'm a firm believer in The Simpsons, and I believe they predict the future. I am wholly on board with that. If you've ever Google Simpsons predict the future and just see all the instances where The Simpsons have been right about the future. But one of my favorite episodes is when they're talking and they have this picture of Grandpa Simpson, and it's a news article, and it says "Old man yells at cloud," and he's just shaking his fist at a cloud. That's what I feel like these people are doing, right? It's like angry person writes angry email, right? It's to you of all people, because you're just so nice.
Yeah.
Well, in any case, well done for not clapping back.
Yes, thank you.
I am very proud.
3 weeks strong.
3 weeks strong without a workplace incident.
Yeah, 2024 is going to be my no workplace incidents this year. I think I can do it.
You're off to a good start. Well done. So, any good plans for the weekend?
Actually, no. Just trying to catch up from some stuff. Even though that we are on break, I'm really been excited of learning and visiting folks in our community and doing a lot of one-on-one talks with folks. And so it's been great, but it's very tiring as well. And it's cold.
It's cold.
And I'm old. And it's just not fun being cold and old.
It is
so,
not.
So I might just like hunker down. But I do know that, I didn't know if you knew this, but there's a guy that may be having a birthday party on Saturday.
I wouldn't denote it a party. I have some friends gathering
Yeah.
together, in honor of me, which I think is totally appropriate.
Yes.
But yes, for my birthday tomorrow, we got some friends that we're going to hang out and just
Good.
enjoy some low-key old person. And to be fair, I think my wife may actually be pushing back on our plans because it is cold.
It is
outside.
cold.
Well, thank everybody for listening to us today on We're Just Saying with Senator Vicky Sawyer. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a great week.
The new 105.